Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So today guys, I wanted to share with you a very important yet sensitive topic. And I know that this already is gonna polarize many of you viewers because there's a lot of debate going on. You see, you have both the people from the pro-choice movement with their own arguments, trying to justify their position and their beliefs. And then there is the opposite side that instead has these the pro-lifers and has the all the arguments and is trying to show instead that abortion is wrong and that it should be banned and so forth. So there is these groups that kind of sometimes even mocking or attacking each other and trying to prove the other group wrong and trying to say, yeah, but it's about human rights, it's about the women's rights, it's about being free, it's their body, their choice, and then on the other side instead is the whole pro-life movement is trying to say, no, it's not your body because you're not killing yourself, you're killing something else. What you're doing is killing a human being. What you're talking here is a human being. And again here, what about the rights of the child, right? It's not about just your rights, it's always about the rights of the infant that you're actually aborting and killing. So there is a lot of debate going on, and what I'm going to try to do today is I'm going to try to show you what, in my opinion, is the best and the strongest argument against abortion that is completely non-religious. So I'm not going to use the Bible, I'm not going to use God, I'm not going to use Christianity, I'm not going to use any of the ethics of morality that come from Christianity. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use science. We're going to take a look at how science defines human life. When does human life begin? And therefore, this can show you, hopefully, that having an elective abortion, so having an abortion, choosing to have an abortion when there are no health problems either to the child or to the mother, so there is no risk of having issues, or like a life threats to the mother or to the child, why having that type of abortion, which by the way is more than like 97% of abortions are actually elective abortions, so there is no health problem for the mother in continuing the pregnancy. All right, why choosing to having an abortion is actually wrong, and what you're doing is you're killing a human being. And I'm going to try to show you again here, this is completely non-religious. It's going to be secular, it's going to be just science. So if you don't agree with what I'm going to say, you're going to be disagreeing with science. You're going to be disagreeing with the scientific community, with the consensus about when human life begins, what defines a human being. And again, I've just placed this picture because this picture is actually you. In each of these stages of development, this is still you. Even on the earliest stage, this is still you. This is you. This is you, and then it's still you after you're born, when you're a kid, when you become a teenager, when you grow, you keep growing, you become an adult, then you become an adult, old person, and then eventually you die. It's always you. So again, exactly as being old, being an adult, being a teenager, being a kid, being an infant, it's stages of the development outside the womb. Inside the womb, these are still stages of development, but it's always you. It's you as a human being, as an unique individual with genetic material that defines you, defines your character, your personality, your traits, and everything that comes with it. So, and again, and this is going to be science. I'm not going to use God. I'm not going to use Christianity. And yeah, now before moving, this is actually the thing I wanted to show you, is the fact that the scientific consensus for when does life begin is actually that human life begins with the fertilization. So in this very first moment, when the egg and the spermatozoid, meet each other, that's when human life begins. That's when you are formed. That's when I am formed. That's when the human life begins. And this is more than 90, this says this here, more than 96% of biologists agree and have and uphold this view. And only the very little less of biologists is that doesn't agree with this or has a different view. That, for example, there are some among these who don't agree with this view that a human being arises or begins once there is consciousness. So once the fetus is conscious of itself, of the environment. Some instead say that is the point where the heart starts beating. Some say when there is electrical activity of the brain. So there are different views on when does a human being actually become a human being, so is a human being. But again, the vast majority of biologists have this consensus that human life, begins at conception with the fertilization, with the zygote. This is actually the zygote, right? And again, this is science. So if you don't agree with this, you're not agreeing with the scientific consensus. The vast majority of scientists agreeing and saying that this is correct, because of the fact that in this stage you have all the genetic material that you need, you have all the DNA, you have everything that defines you. It's there already. So that's why this is you exactly as the you outside the womb, or exactly as the you that then is an old person. It's always you. It's the same genetic material. It's the same individual. It's the same human being. And now there's something that I wanted to share with you about ChatGPT. There are these things that are circulating online, and I'll share one on my channel like a couple of days ago. And this one is someone asking ChatGPT, which is the best argument against abortion? And look here what the computer says. This is AI. It says the best argument against abortion typically revolves around the belief that human life begins at conception, and therefore terminating a pregnancy is equivalent to ending a human life. This perspective often stems from religious or moral convictions that prioritize the sanctity of life from the moment of conception. So then the person asked ChatGPT, when does human life begin according to science? And then the computer says, according to science, human life begins at conception, which is the moment when a sperm fertilizes an egg, forming a unique genetic blueprint for a new individual. From a biological standpoint, this marks the beginning of a new human organism development. And so you can see here the problem, right? You can see how both of these answers that the computer is giving are somehow contradicting one another, right? Because if science says that human life begins at conception with the consensus, right? The vast majority of scientists agree that this is the view that human life begins at conception. Then why is it then that the best argument against abortion revolves around the belief that human life begins at conception? It's not a belief. That's a fact. So it's a scientific fact that human life begins at conception. It's not a belief. Therefore, it's not religion or moral convictions or anything else that can come with the arguments presented. It's just secondary. It's secondary things. The most important thing is that it's science, is a fact. Human life begins at conception. And therefore, whatever reason you might have, whatever belief you might have of otherwise that is not the case, well, you're actually going against science. So this is not a belief. It's not like based on religious or a different perspective or moral convictions or whatever. No, this is science. So again, you can see the cognitive dissonance of the computer in replying to these answers, and in one sense trying to show that, yeah, it's a matter of opinion, it's a matter of perspective, there are different positions in this. No position is right or wrong, right? That's what the computer says. It's always try to stay neutral, right? Not taking any side. But then when you ask a more specific question, then the computer completely affirms that, yeah, according to science, human life begins at conception. So this is just funny, hilarious, and you can see why this argument is so strong, right? Because if you're disagreeing with this view, you're actually going against science. You're holding an anti-scientific position and belief, or you're just going with a very little, with the smallest percentage of biologists actually agree with the view that instead human life begins with electrical activity of the brain, or with the heart beating, or when there is consciousness, which are all things that, by the way, happen in later stages of the development, right? So it's hard to sometimes draw the mark. So until 8 weeks, it's fine to abort. Then after, maybe not so much. But then, no, what about 6 weeks? What about 10 weeks or 12 weeks, right? So that's why, unless we go to the with the consensus with what I believe that science says, that yes, because of the fact that from this point, that's all of you, that's all your DNA, that's all the material, the genetic things that you need that define you, who you are, right? So this should be the moment in which a human life is born. Like, this is just a development. This is just you changing over time, exactly as a kid then changes into a teenager, then into an adult, then into an old person, right? But it's still you. It's not like you're changing into something else. So again, this is still a human being, just developing and changing shape, changing form. But yeah, that's just it. So you can see again the computer kind of contradicting itself. And then there is another one right here, which is a little bit more, there is more dialogue going on. And I'm gonna just summarize. I'm gonna put these articles in the description below, so if you guys want, you can check it out. This one, it says, are there any published embryology or scientific textbooks that point to any moment other than conception as the beginning of human life? And again, the computer, rightly, because of this, it says, yeah, the scientific consensus among embryologists and other experts is that human life begins at the moment of fertilization, when a sperm and egg unite to form a single cell called a zygote. This is a widely accepted and well-established scientific principle that is taught in medical and scientific textbooks. Then it says, it is worth noting that while the scientific community has a clear understanding of when a human life begins, from a biological perspective, there are ongoing debates and discussions about the ethical, legal, and moral implications of this knowledge. And these debates often involve multiple perspectives and interpretations. However, the point of fertilization as the beginning of human life is widely recognized and accepted within the scientific community as the starting point of human development. So again, as always, a computer, giving a neutral answer, just trying to make everyone happy, and so forth. So the person here wants to try pushing, into the computer, and so then he asks later on, is it wrong to terminate an innocent human life which poses no danger to any other person and who has not consented to or requested his life to be ended? Please only answer yes or no. And of course, the answer is yes, because we have laws about this. It's always wrong. It's a moral evil to kill an innocent human life with no proper justification. And then it goes on and it says, therefore, based on the two previous answers, the fact that the scientific consensus is that human life begins at conception, is that it is wrong, is a moral evil to terminate a innocent human life, then is elective abortion wrong? So again, remember, elective abortion means having any type of abortion that does not pose a life threat to the mother or to the child, right? Please only answer yes or no. And then the computer, very smartly, exactly as people, when you ask people and you try to bring these arguments, they're always gonna end up trying to escape, right? It is a complex and sensitive issue with different perspectives and opinions. So I can't give you a yes or no. That's pretty much what the computer says. And then it tries to justify itself, So I can't give a yes or no for the question about like elective abortion being wrong. The issue is complex. It has different perspectives, different opinions. It raises questions, so we should respect each opinion. And again, the person here tries to push the computer. Well, I think instead that your answer is illogical, based on your first two answers, right? So if these two premises are true, then it necessarily follows then that elective abortion is wrong, is a moral evil. There is no depends, right? There is no it's a complex thing, so it's just wrong. And that's why after a little bit of pushing, at the end of the day, the questioner, in this case the human being, tries to show, okay, the question of whether it is wrong to kill an innocent human being who has not consented to being killed depends on one's personal beliefs and values. So that's the idea. And of course is no, it's an objective thing. It's a thing that we share against Western society, and it's about the human rights. So of course, is the answer is no. And then this says, do your last two answers contradict one another? And then the computer says yes. The fact that because again, the computer tried to justify itself, saying yes, it's true that according to science, human life begins at conception, and that it is always morally wrong to kill an innocent human being. But abortion, elective abortion, it depends. It's a complex thing, so that's why the computer even admits, yes, no, I'm being illogical. I'm contradicting myself. And again, the last thing is this last one, which is super fun, which says that imagine that if you rely only on science, right? You don't have any other beliefs, values, ethical, moral frameworks, are just science. So would you oppose the elective abortion? So would you oppose would you say that it's wrong to kill an innocent human being? Then the computer says yes. So again, if we just exclude whatever reason that may be brought up to justify abortion, elective abortion. But by the way, remember, elective abortion is like more than 97% of abortions. So it's the vast majority of them. And again, it just shows this kind of inconsistency in the pro-choice movement. When presented with this argument, they try to either escape or they don't even know what to say. Other than saying, well, but there is the 4% of biologists that say that human life begins at another stage, and so they try to find in the minority, they try to find an escape route. But if they're honest with themselves, they have to admit, yes, if this is true, right? So if the two premises are true, the fact that human life begins at conception and that it is always wrong to kill an innocent human being, then elective abortion is wrong, and you can't justify it. You can't justify an evil with another evil, as I'm gonna say in the next video. In the next video, I'm gonna try to talk a bit more about some more arguments presented in defense of the pro-choice movement and the pro-choice position. So yeah, that was what I wanted to share with you guys. So again, it's complete non-Christian related, but again, it's something that I think is important. So make sure you like this video. You can share it with your friends. You can maybe challenge them if you know that some of your friends is actually pro-choice. You can try to challenge them with this argument, and then see where it takes you. If this can lead you to a more in-depth debate. Always respectful. Always knowing that it's a sensitive topic, that women have undergo either rape or sexual abuse, or they have like tough homes or problems in their families. Maybe they are single mothers, or they have struggles, financial struggles, and so forth. It's harder to explain this, and to stay completely objective, and to we have to be sensitive and we have to be gracious. And again, this I think is something that we can't really escape from. So again, just showing that even though you might have tons of reasons why it might be better to abort, but that doesn't mean that it is less wrong or that it is less evil, right? It's a less moral evil. So, and again, I'm gonna just show you in the next video some more things. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks for watching. God bless you. See ya.